And just like that, it's another day, another episode. This time it's just me and Saeed, and we're joined by the wonderful Fernanda Lee. Fernanda, welcome on the show. Let the world know who you are and what you do.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here. I am a mother. I am a sister. I am a daughter. I am a citizen of the world living in United States now, but I am Brazilian actually, to the bone.
To the way, right?
Carrying many nationalities in my blood, a little bit of Syrian as well.
It's pretty cool.
It's great to have you on.
Yeah, it's great to have you on the show. So what you do is a very interesting work. I think it's more of a way of life than like instruction manual. To me, positivity can be very hard to achieve sometimes, right? So how do you do it? Let's get straight to it. How do you teach people to maintain positivity and to achieve positivity?
Okay, pretty cool question. So can I go back just a little bit and talk about what's positive and what's discipline? Because a lot that I teach,
let's do it.
It comes from those two words, positive discipline. So let's go back. Discipline comes from disciplina or discipulas, which means disciple, to follow the truth, to be a teacher. So when you say, "Oh, you have to be self-disciplined," that means you are teaching yourself how to do something, or how to start a new routine, or how to learn a language, right? This is what discipline means. But pretty much we use discipline as, well, this child needs to be disciplined, which means, a really good spank, on the face and the butt, then he's going to learn. So we use discipline in a very pejorative way, when in fact, it's just part of teaching. It's part of life.
Right.
You're teaching yourself all the time.
Isn't it because they misunderstand what discipline actually is, and they correlate it with obedience, maybe?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much part of our culture. We say,
right.
Yeah.
We use in a wrong way.
Interesting.
Okay.
So that's the discipline part of what you do. What about the positive or the positivity? You said you wanted to get into that.
Yeah. So when we are teaching ourselves, we can teach ourselves in a really harsh way. I have to do it. I'm going to do the hard way. I'm going to learn or teach someone by making that person suffer or through punishment, or you can teach or learn through a positive way. So a punitive way, we know it's very dark and negative, and you have to experience pain to be able to make a change.
Right.
Being positive, it doesn't mean that, everything's going to be fine. There are flowers and birds walking around. There is a rainbow behind me. It means that you are looking to where you want to go.
Right.
So if I say, don't shake your hand, don't shake your head. Okay, well, don't stay seated. Don't laugh. Don't open your mouth. Don't open your eyes. Just like, okay, lady, what do you want me to do?
Right. Yes.
Tell me what to do. Give me a direction. Be positive. Give me the goal, clear as possible, that vision where I can see myself building as I go. So being positive in this sense is building that goal, clear, direct, very specific. So when we talk about positive discipline, is everything we do in life is just, what do you want? Most people don't know what they want. They pretty much know what they don't want. Right. I do not want to be fat. I do not want to be poor. I do not want, I don't have enough time.
Right. I mean, I know what I want. I just don't know how to get it. Or I kind of do, but I'm too lazy to, right? Like it's very simple what I want. I'm a simple man. Health, wealth, and happiness. That's, I think, the myth. Like, as much as I want, it's as little as I want, right? But the whole achieving each of these individual goals, I feel like can be a little bit, because if we're saying we live in a world that's not set up to be negative, we'd be either lying to ourselves or delusional, right? Like that's how I feel about the whole situation. So it sometimes is really hard to just remain positive, especially for me. I find myself in dark moments in my life a lot, recent more than, previous. but I don't know how to, even in these dark times, remain positive. So how do I go through this? How do I go about this?
Wow, that's a pretty good sharing there, because I see myself in those places too. And I'm sure, Saeed and anyone who is listening to us, first of all, we need to understand that what we have in here between your headphones are pretty sophisticated technology devices. Our brains are so powerful and we're still learning about them. And by any means, I am a neuroscientist, but I'm very curious. I read a lot. And one of the things that I've learned is that our brain can scan, potential fears and things that can go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But is the caught up thought that I'm not okay, I'm not enough, this is never going to end, the pandemic is going to be here forever, the vaccine is going to kill everyone. It's just like those thoughts that we keep revisiting and telling ourselves that can really get us stuck.
Mm-hmm.
So positive discipline is a way for us to teach ourselves to recognize when we go to those places. There's nothing wrong in going to dark places. We all go there. We all need this complete light and shadow, day and night. We need this to feel complete. I'm not happy all the time, but
right.
When I'm sad, it feels part of me as well. So we got to understand that the brain scans for fear and for potential threats. It's important to be afraid.
Right.
The problem is when we get stuck on that. How do we get out of there?
Right. You said something important I kind of want to touch up on, because it is, I see this as a huge assumption that's mainly a mistake. People assume that because you're a positive, disciplined person, that you're always happy, right? And I feel like this is a huge assumption that's always made. So I want to ask you, what was the darkest thing or the darkest time in your life, and how did you get out of it personally?
I have 2 kids, believe it or not. I'm very young.
It doesn't show. It doesn't show.
Yes, you are.
I'm very young, but I had kids and I felt like I'm not fit to be a mother. This is a huge responsibility when you hold a little baby so defensiveless and needing you all the time. I don't know. Are you guys parents?
No, far from it.
We might look old, but we're probably very young.
Okay, were you
probably we are very young.
Time in your point in your life, were you a child?
Yes.
I mean,
okay, so you know what it is to be dependent of somebody. You feel that person is strong enough, and that can take care of you.
Yeah.
Right. So it's the same thing. It's like, am I strong enough to take care of you? Am I prepared? So that was really, really dark, because things that I've learned my parents are wonderful people, full disclosure, but there were things that they did that kind of traumatized little T my life, that I feel like, gosh, I never want to have a child. And if I do, I never want to do this.
Right.
Okay.
But I didn't know what to do. And then you have a child and you feel like, I know what I don't want to do, but I don't know what I want to do. And you feel in this limbo that you get stuck.
By the way, I want to discuss on that part specifically about, so I really analyze this a lot in myself and self-reflect on these points about the trauma that we face, especially how much it builds a person's character. And obviously the trauma that you receive as a child from your parents, you can't entirely blame them. Like, for me, that's my perspective, because I know for a fact they had no idea what they're doing when they got me. I was first of all, I'm the first child, and I'm pretty sure with my siblings, the same thing happened. Because as a parent, it feels like, it just shows like no one actually knows what's going on, especially once you become an adult. And obviously, I don't know if maybe you've noticed this as a parent, that adults don't know what's going on they're just making it up as they go. No one's fully prepared to be a parent.
Super winging it as a parent. Yeah.
So for the trauma part, I feel like it's something that is essential in a person's life, because facing adversity is what builds the person's character to be able to face the current life that we are living in. Because as a parent, you want to prepare your child for a lifestyle that is reality, not a perfect utopia that they will have in their head. And then once they face the reality, they'll be like, you know, fully blown, like their mind will be blown away, because they're like, this is not what I was taught when I was a kid.
I promise you he's not a parent. I promise you. I promise you he's not a parent. I know him very well. But yeah, I don't know. My positive spin on the whole way, like, okay, yeah, sure. Like, if as a kid, I might have gotten spanked once, twice. I mean, who's counting really, right? But I know it's always like, you as a mother, do you not feel like I want to do the best for this child so that this child grows up to be the best human being possible, right? But some parents do sometimes take it a little bit overboard, just a little bit.
Ali,
right?
what is the definition of the best for the child? That's the thing. Every child has like a different needs a different approach. That's the concept. Because obviously each child is born into a different culture, a different country, different nationality.
I mean, not each.
All of these factors, every factor seems in, bro.
Listen, I'll tell you what. They just carry on what their parents did to them, and they put it out. You know, they push it forward back to us, and you know, genetics plays a whole factor into this, because what worked on them, they think is going to work on us. They don't know that external factors actually have an input and a say in how the child turns out to be. So I don't know. Mm-hmm. I'm not too familiar. All I know is it worked on me. I'll probably say it. The spankings and the lessons taught me well, right? And that's my positive point of that is, hey, look at me now, right? I'm who I am, and that's great. So, but yeah, you were talking about worrying about how you're gonna deal with your kids, right? So please, I actually wanted to hear where that went.
Okay, so let me touch based on what Saeed said. When kids do something that the parents don't approve, some parents might be very reactive. Yes. And they might say things to the child that even though they wish the best for the child, this is not what the child will hear. The child will probably hear that I am not good enough for you. I need to change to somehow be pleasing you, and I'm not going to hear myself. I'm going to hear you and pay attention to the cues when I'm okay and when I'm not. And kids, they go through some stages that they need to feel the environment inside of a home or a school that is safe. No matter what I do, I am safe. I still have to have consequences, but I'm feeling safe. And when parents spank the child, they take away their dignity. They take away a very important value that we all need to develop. And sometimes we say, well, I was spanked and I was okay. Now I'm a normal human being. No, we are not. We are changed forever until we really stop and analyze and kind of resolve that situation that is still unresolved. It's an open wound.
I'm not sure if I see it that way, to be honest, because to me it's like, I mean, you lose your dignity if it's coming from someone you don't know, right? But when it's literally from the people that made you, brought you, you know, raised you, spent money on you, all that stuff, I don't think it's more of an, if it's severe, shit, I'm with you, right? Like if it's taking your son to the hospital because you beat the shit out of him, that's where, you know, to me it's like, yee, right? But it was just like a little slap.
Yeah, Ali, I don't think it comes from like physical beating. It can also be from the things they say. Yeah, that can be like, you know, it can really stick with the child if it's constantly being repeated to them, and they're basically, their self-worth goes down the drain because they're just like treated as not essential. Like their parents make them feel like worthless.
I mean, I'll
You
put my
know,
hands
I'm
up here and
not.
say, who
I'm
knows,
not saying.
right?
By the way, I'm not projecting. I'm not projecting any of this. Like my parents obviously had their issues, but they weren't. Bad. I'm happy with
Right.
how my
Yeah,
parents raised me.
I don't know. It kind of sounded a little dark there, Saeed. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay. So let me tie into what
Yeah.
Saeed had mentioned that I wasn't able to complete.
Yes,
so he
please.
said resilient. Yeah. So we want the child to learn resilience. We all do. We all have ups and downs in life. But when is the parent causing the pain? And this is when it doesn't develop resilience. It more or less, it develops what we call the 4 R's of punishment. You either become rebellious, you want to do the opposite, you retreat, you do certain things. You were teenagers, weren't you? If you did something,
Some might argue
wrong,
still are, just saying.
if you did something wrong, would you come and tell your dad, hey dad, that's what I did?
No.
Depends on the situation. I'll be very honest. Like if it's
so
very bad. No.
If it is a situation that you need help, you are going to look for somebody who you really can help you, not scold you, not beat you to death and is going to pay for what you did. You want to look for an adult that can say that you mess up pretty bad. And you know what? I don't agree with what you did. And I'm going to help you. Let's see how you can fix this. I'm going to be here to help you.
Right.
This teaches more life skills than beating the teenager, the kid to death, or putting him in the room and saying, go think about what you did. So when you talk about resilient, I remember the times I was spanked too. And I never turned to my parents or my teachers and said, thank you so much. You kind of changed my life because now I'm a better human being. I want to do better. Children do better when they feel better.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that we have to say, hey, look what you did. You stole a car. Let me teach you resilience. No, it means what you did is wrong. Mm-hmm. And let's see how we're going to fix this.
Right.
The
I have a
brain
question
is much
on that
more susceptible
point.
To learn the lesson and to actually create what we call apego or vínculo, connection. We want to have those, the word that kind of escaped from my mouth. We want to have those links with people that we feel safe. I feel accepted here. Look, I'm not going to go there, but
if you want to,
I'm going to stop reading.
No, I wanted to ask a question about on the point of when we're teaching resilience to the child, like we want to teach him like a lesson that he can benefit from. I would say, isn't it better to, instead of asking him why did he do it or why didn't she do it, well, what are you gonna? I would ask the child maybe, what are you gonna do about it? Like basically try to ask them like, what kind of solution are you gonna seek for for the problem that you have caused?
Yes, and for that, what are the elements that are so important to show up as that adult? What do you think you need in yourself to help that little kid or that teenager reach to the point that he can find a solution? What do we need from you as the adult?
Well, first of all, I'd approach the person and ask them what exactly happened so that I can also assess the situation.
So curiosity.
Exactly.
Open questions.
Yes.
You are calm.
Yeah, definitely. I have to be calm.
Regulated. You have probably, a plan in mind if the child doesn't. Look at so many things you are actually modeling to show up to that kid. Mm-hmm. Modeling is huge. We are born humans, but we become human beings by watching somebody modeling that for us. So if I beat you to that and say, hey, Ali, I'm right. You shut up. You're a kid. Who do you think you are? I'm a master trainer, positive discipline. You know shit.
I mean,
so
it's
you
true.
don't even have a kid. You don't even have a kid.
I
Okay.
don't.
So pay attention to me and let me talk.
Please
Now
do.
you feel like, thank you so much, Fernanda. This is the best podcast I ever had in my life. I can't wait to hear from you. Tell me the truth, Ali. How do you feel right now?
Like I'll be honest, I feel like I've been put in my place. I won't lie.
Just been roasted, man. That's what just happened. That was good. That was good.
Right?
Yeesh,
and we feel like we are like in the top of the world because we are the adults, we know better, when in fact I'm totally taking away your dignity, your value as a human being in this moment, learning in life. I'm doing a disservice for you. And how many times we see this in the classrooms, in online classrooms, on the street, the neighbor, the guy who beats the lady. That you have neighbors who they're adults and they're beating each other. What is this? Violence needs to stop. What we need is become conscientious of what we do sometimes, or most of the times, can come from our childhood. This is not like a therapy. I'm not trying to say,
honestly,
you gotta go to therapy.
If this episode turns into a therapy, I'm just saying I don't mind. I honestly don't mind.
But a lot, what we do as adults, we kind of already create the blueprint in our childhood, because this is what our brain does. From 0 to 3 is going to a huge neural development. And then the second huge neural development is during teenage years. So we gotta understand that teenagers are very susceptible to relationships. And if we beat, if we humiliate, if we say, haven't I told you that? How many times do I need to tell you? Do you want me to take your cell phone? This kind of creates a separation when in fact we need to get closer to those teenagers to help guide them and be co-facilitators. So in fact, positive discipline is helping you as an adult to become a good role model.
Right.
So you can be an influence to that child, to that teenager, to that coworker, to that spouse.
I have a feeling that also you mentioned the neurological development between 0 and 3, like that's a massive development there. I feel like it's a bit undermined also. Like parents don't fully grasp how intelligent a child can be, especially at that age, or like after around 3 and after 3. I feel like they don't notice the personality that the child develops at that young age. Like they're obviously not fully conscious and aware of what's going on, but they have some understanding of what's happening to the degree where they understand some social cues and take advantage of them. And this is what I've basically been like analyzing my cousins. They're like 4 years old.
Right.
And I saw them ever since they were little kids growing up. And I saw how, for example, the family would treat them, my uncle and his wife, how they would raise them. And sometimes I would interject and offer some advice. Not necessarily professional advice, just like, from what I would notice.
Speaking from PTSD.
Right? Yeah, maybe. But I noticed, the things that I would notice is that they develop personalities at such young ages. Like they're able to, they know what they want. They know what, like one of them has they're twins. So one of them has a different personality than the other. They're fraternal twins. They're not identical. And their personalities really differ from each other. One knows what she wants, and the other one is a bit more shy and reserved. But what if provoked, she will lash out. And she became like that when she started lashing out around maybe the age of 3, and that's because her twin sister, who's bigger in size than her, used to be a bit more aggressive towards her. So I feel like she developed that personality as a defense mechanism. So I don't know if you have an opinion on that.
And even for twins, right? Look
Yeah.
at twins. They can be so different. And why is that? Okay, so let me say something that might be helpful for you, even if you guys don't have kids, because you can apply as individuals.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be wonderful if when you decide to have a child, you kind of have some kind of child development theories or practices that you can kind of revise and study to become a better parent? Like, think about the profession you have. Did you have to go to school? I certainly did for mine. You know, did you have to go to school, Ali, to become?
This says a lot.
He's pointing at his book, the case behind him.
The book behind me,
Yeah.
as you can see.
Okay. So, what did you study?
I'm studying medicine and surgery right now. That's what I
Okay,
do.
like
Yeah.
many hours, right? Yeah. How about you, Saeed?
So I graduated with a degree in political studies and a minor in international law, and I'm continuing my master's in conflict resolution.
Oh, wonderful. So let's say you want to work for the UN or a law
Yeah.
firm,
That's
whatever.
exactly what he wants to
They
do.
will say, hey, what is your degree, your diploma? No, I don't have it. I just think I'm good enough and I'm just going to work here. It doesn't work like this, right? You need to show you got prepared. How about for Ali, hey, I want to work here in this hospital. Who are you? What's your degree? Oh, let's just watch some videos on YouTube.
I want to know how
No,
to
you're not working here.
I know what I'm
But
saying.
for parents, there is no requirement.
True.
And
Exactly.
this is the most important
Yeah.
job in the world. It's like we are actually building our nation, our society, and we
Yeah.
are not getting ready for it. So it goes back to that question, your darkest moment. That's it. Because I was a businesswoman. I was working for a very important bank. I was in audit department. I knew how to do spreadsheets, and I used all those skills when my baby was born. So no, an Excel spreadsheet will not work for a baby routine. You got to read other things. You got to read about temperament.
True.
So this is one of the things I want to touch, is that to become a parent, you have no preparation whatsoever, besides the memories and the interpretations you took and you made when you were a child.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that goes back to the Ali's point, is that, well, when I got hit, I felt like, it didn't change me so much to the point I developed any kind of trauma. So here's the thing. In positive discipline, we embrace the fact that in life, what happens, it's just an event. A father beating a child is an event. What the child is going to decide about that event, that interpretation, is based on their own view of life. So did you have brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I have
So
two
if you
sisters.
ask Ali, your sister or your brother, if you like to be bitten, do you think they will have a different opinion?
If at the time, listen, even me at the time, I hated my life, right? It was like the worst moment to live. But now that I've grown up and when I reflect on my past and the bad things I did and how the repercussions were, I feel like they were appropriate, because now every time I think about doing the same mistake, I remember that, that time I got caught for doing it, and I'm just like, not worth it, right? Like, even though now there's no way my dad would, or my mom would lay their hands on me, right? I'm too big for that shit. But the way they raised me is that whenever I am about to fall into the same traps I did back when I did, I would go like, wait a second, this is bad. Even if I can't explain why it's bad, right? I'd be like, there's a little, I wouldn't call it trauma, because it's not. It's more like
It is though.
Sounds
Sounds like it.
Let me finish. You'll hear where I'm going with this. It's more of like it's like a negative reinforcement in a positive way. I don't know how to say it, right? I'm not too good. I don't know how to phrase it right, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like, it's just like a preventative. That's
So
what it is.
let me ask you this, Ali,
Right.
is because you are afraid of the punishment, or because you think you have a better use of your energy? You can actually use your creativity to something more useful, because there is a huge difference. I visited here in California a maximum security prison. Have you been inside of one?
No.
No.
Okay,
And
I
lady,
invite
I don't
everyone
intend on being in one. I'll be very honest.
to do that. I invite everyone to do that. Actually, Mark Zuckerberg visit one, and there is a project to teach those people to take care of their trauma, see where the age they lost their innocence, and do things that it can be useful. Not because you are not going to do something because you are afraid of the punishment.
Right.
Those are two different things. So what they are doing in the prison is not lock you up until you learn your lesson, because if you don't have any model, you have no idea, your brain cannot rewire. So they are bringing role models. They are teaching them skills of how to be entrepreneurs, how they can use their energy and their creative powers, where they're good at. Are they learning a new skill? You want to try learning a new skill. So when they leave, they can actually use those new skills to become entrepreneurs. So it's different. It's a different way of a society when you teach people to do differently because they have skills, than to do differently because you are afraid of the punishment. And it goes back to that negative. I know what not to do, but I have no idea what to do because I was never taught.
No, I understand what you're trying to say, because like I've had discussions on these points, especially when it comes to people who have done crimes, people who have committed crimes. Most people would obviously say, like, from the conversations that I've been, most people would say, like, no, these people have to be put into jail, or because we've also discussed the death penalty and I've discussed it multiple times, and most of the conversations I would have, people are with the death penalty because basically, in their opinion, if the person is no longer existent, crime would just stop, to decrease. But I don't feel like that's the case, because in my mind, anyone who commits a crime tends to have probably has gone through a severe trauma in their life that pushes them towards this the dark path where they break the law or commit a crime that is that can be really aggressive or really bad.
Right. So isn't the trauma is the unresolved trauma that causes problem? Because if you have support, if you have resources, and if you have psychotherapy, and if you live around a community that supports you, then you can actually resolve that trauma and learn from it.
Yes.
If there are institutions that only allow therapists or counselors to work if they have gone through trauma and resolve them, to kind of resonate with other teenagers who are going through the same thing. I cannot serve kids who have been sexually abused. I have never passed through that. So I can serve, but there's a difference when you go through it. You can really hear it, and you can really talk to that person and see that I was able to overcome that. You can too. This is so powerful. This is so powerful.
It's sort of like
the motto we're looking for.
So go ahead, someone.
Keep going, Fernanda. My bad.
So what do we do in Positive Discipline? We are a worldwide nonprofit organization. I am a master trainer. And when you said, hey, tell us about you, it wasn't the first thing that came out of my mind. I am a master trainer, because I am beyond my title. I am a sister. I am a daughter. I am a mother. We are defined, not just the kinds of relationships we have, but also the ambience where we are defines us. I can There are two things that help us in our personality. One is my own perception of life.
Mhm.
You talk about twins, twins one can be more optimistic, one can be more pessimistic. They are born with those temperaments. Like they're innate. But the other thing that really helps the personality is the people, the type of relationships we have. And based on how you treat me, I will make a perception that this is a fun place. This is a great interview. I'm feeling welcomed here. If I feel the ambience is hostile, I will probably be hostile too, or depending on my personality, I would say, you know what, my connection is really bad. I'm going to turn this off and we'll go away. So we need those two things to complete our personality. And personality is formed by the age of 5. This is how important our ambience and environment in the home is. And this is when the kids are most prone to make the parents lose their hair. It's like, I can't believe it. I can't sleep. I can't eat. I can't even, be with my partner because this kid wants something all the time. So preparation for parents is key. And that's what we do. This is what we do. We honor our story. We resolve our traumas by understanding new tools. And we have tons of tools. We have tools for parents. We have tools for people in the workplace. We have tools for sports. We have tools for relationships, for classrooms. And what are those tools? Tools are what we need to learn how to interact in a different way.
Right.
So do you want to hear some of the tools that we have?
Sure.
Yes,
let's
definitely.
Pick your experience. Would you like to hear from parents, classroom, relationship, people in the workplace?
Shall we switch it up to relationships?
I knew it. I knew you were going to go down that way. I knew it.
No, we talked about parents. We talked about workplace a bit. It's time for relationships.
Fine. Let's do relationships, and Saeed wants to do it. I know he desperately wants to. So fine, relationships.
Okay, fantastic. If you allow me to be practical, then you can learn, and whoever is listening can learn too.
Yeah.
We can use, you already said, I'm just listening.
Yeah, I'm good with listening here, honestly. But Saeed, since you're into this stuff, hey, go for it. I want to see how
I might learn something. I'm a very curious person. I like to learn as much as possible.
So when we talk about tools, we talk about those cards, and we have 50 tools, relationship tools. We can use any of those tools to manipulate somebody or to actually connect with somebody. And the difference is what you have your mindset on. Mm-hmm. So the mindset for positive discipline is this: everybody, from the moment they are born to the moment they die, we have 2 basic needs. I mean, we have a lot of needs, but we have 2 basic needs. See if you agree with me. One is to feel belonging. We want to feel we belong in the home we were born, in the school we went to. If we have a loving relationship, like I'm accepted by my partner, and the work here in this interview, or in this podcast, we feel belonging. This is.
Do you feel? I want to know. Do you feel belonging to this interview?
I do, and I will tell you why.
Go ahead.
Because you opened the space to share whatever ideas I had. You guys didn't have an agenda. You didn't say you cannot do this, you cannot do that. You just be yourself. This, for me, I feel belonging.
Amazing.
You can cut, you don't have to edit anything, or you can add a lot of things. It doesn't matter. I feel that
we don't do that here. We keep it as normal as possible.
So you accept me the way I am, with my accent, my Brazilian accent, with my vivacious personality, whatever. I feel belonging. The second basic need is to contribute. Whatever comes out of my mouth, whatever I write, the work I do, look at your podcast. Don't you want to feel that you make a difference in somebody else's life because you were
Definitely.
posting this?
Definitely.
Yeah. It's
You
a nice
too.
feeling.
And then when somebody comments, oh my gosh, thank you so much for posting this. How do you feel?
Honestly, I feel amazing because it has happened to me before, where a person I know would come to me and be like, this episode changed a lot of how I view about things, or it's really good, or I really like that. To me is just overwhelming. That's the word I'd like to use. Just overwhelming.
But by the way, Fernanda, do you mind if I ask a question about the belonging part? So I wanted to ask about the belonging part. Is it associated with possibly a sense of safety as well? Because like when you belong to a certain group and they accept you, do you feel also safe that you can basically they in a sense they've got your back and they can protect you if you, and obviously since you're in that group you can help them protect others, and it's basically like a defense mechanism.
Belonging does not exist without safety.
Okay.
Because you see me not for what I do, you see inside. You see my intentions. You hear not just my words, you hear what I really want to say, that I care. I probably could be rough or harsh, and you might come and say to me, wow, Fernanda, you were really hard on that meeting. And I wonder if something is going on because this is not usually yourself. This is belonging. Belonging doesn't mean that I love you, no matter, you can be doing a really horrible thing. It's like, I see you. I see underneath your skin. It gives me goosebumps because when the child feels that child develops a huge immune system. So it's like, I'm loved. I have a place here. I'm protected.
Yeah.
Especially for a young brain that is not fully developed, that needs to feel safe. I can come tell my mom that I got another chocolate. She might be mad, but she's not going to spank me. She's like,
If she does this,
Saeed, you got another chocolate. I can't believe it. Maybe I need to hide that chocolate a little bit better. You really like chocolate, don't you? Let's think about when you can eat chocolate. Let's put here in a routine chart. This is safety. This is like, yeah, I belong here. I can grow. My bones can grow. My hair can grow. My brain can grow. So yes, safety is huge.
a question that blew my mind and an answer that really blew my mind, right? That's right. So let's get back into this tools for
the relationship part. Yeah.
I really want to see how this goes.
So when couples, and we're talking any kind of couple, I'm married for 20 years.
Wow, it doesn't show.
Long time. But you can be a couple, you just start dating today. I have a son, he's 16, he's dating. He thinks his girlfriend is the best thing in the world. They are going to be forever, in love. And that's okay. So it doesn't matter what kind of couple you are. Yeah. There's a lot of intimacy. This is a life task, a lot of intimacy. You share yourself with somebody else, and it can be men, women, men, women, whatever it is. Every couple is accepted. We can use that, really that knowledge that I belong in this relationship. Like you see me, you see I like cooking, you see I like teaching, I need that space. And when you close the door and you let me do this interview, it shows you love me. I feel belonging here.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's the person is showing that they understand what you have, like your responsibilities, and they're accepting it. Like they're giving you your time. Yeah. Okay. And how is this a part of the process? When I don't
feel I belong, when I don't feel I belong, I misbehave. What do you think a woman would do to, in my case, is my husband a man? What do you think I would do if I felt like I don't belong? He really doesn't want me with two guys on the podcast. He really wants me on the sofa with him right now. What do you think I would do?
There's two ways of going about it. It's either you obey or you rebel.
Yeah. And how am I going to rebel? I probably, instead of having 1 hour on this podcast, I'll make it 2. Just to show you. You know?
Yes, please.
I will finish and I'll get the car and I'll go do something else. I will sneak out, you know? We misbehave when we don't feel we belong. And we misbehave when we don't feel we contribute in a relationship. Like what I say, it's not even heard. It's not even taken to acknowledgement. So it's so important to know those two needs, because if you start using those tools and you have no idea that there's a very deep need underneath, those tools will not work, because our tendency is immediate gratification. I want to use those tools and I want them to work now. It has been 20 years. My husband is not even listening to me. I want to use those tools and want to make it work now. No, we got to work on the relationship. But this is a good step to work on yourself, to become a better partner, and to see yourself, to show yourself the best of yourself so you can see the best of the other person. So I'm actually using those tools on myself. This is what it is. Do you want me to pick one? So
let's do it.
Any card, honestly.
Okay, I will pick this one that talks about little things. Little things.
Okay.
So it says here, you never tell me you love me. I told you when we got married, and I will let you know if I change my mind. So how do you think little things little things we do for our partners or somebody we care can change or start changing our sense of belonging and contribution? How do you think?
I would say it maybe contributes to the consistency of the expression of emotion, maybe. Like you're constantly showing to this person, because this is something that I've noticed. We tend to, as human beings, need to be reminded that the person we are with still loves us, because we have, in my opinion, we have this insecurity that they might leave us, or they might not want to be with us anymore. You know, we have this fear for being alone. This concept of loneliness is I feel like it's very important for human beings. So like they have to constantly be reminded that I'm not going to lose this person. So the little things basically are an expression of, don't worry, I'm going to stay.
I think it's the way I'd contribute is like, for my significant other, I would probably constantly remind them, as you said, hey, I love you, I like you, you're amazing, you look great, you this, that. Just, it's a positive affirmation. Is that the word I want to use? Positive.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it works.
Words of affirmations. Words of affirmation.
Affirmation is the better.
Pretty much. Yeah. So that's how I would do.
This is so great, because if we were a couple, I would actually ask you, what's a little thing for you? Because what's a little thing for you that is huge in your opinion? And if I do it, it's little for me to do it. You will feel loved. I will share what is a little thing for me. It might be different. I don't want to hear I love you all the time.
Right.
It's just like, oh my gosh, this guy is afraid that I'm going to leave. So the little thing that you just shared is important to you. So knowing that, I will do it for you, but that's not what I want to hear.
Tips and tricks for the guys, Bruno Mars, and I See Your Face, right? That's the song, literally. It's just take one line a day, say it, you should be good to go. But yeah, you're right, little things. You're right.
I would disagree. I don't think it's only words. I believe more I believe more in actions than words. So I would say maybe the little things are like, it could be like just cooking, or cleaning, taking over something that they didn't want to do.
Flowers and chocolate.
I mean, yeah, flowers and chocolate is like, what's it called? It's a cliche choice, but it's still like, sometimes it can work, obviously. Because it depends obviously on the situation. Like what I would do is like assess the situation. Why is she upset? And then try to do something that would cheer her up. Like, it doesn't have to be the same thing, of course. Like, it doesn't work that way.
Right. So now we are going to the love languages. And when you said that you will do things, it's acts of service. This is my love language. I'll love if you do something for me. It makes my life easier. Like that'll be huge for me. It's better than hear I love you all the time. Just do it. And the other thing I said, flowers and chocolate is gifts. It's another love language.
Yeah.
But not necessarily it works for every person. I mean, if you come to me and you bring me all this, it's like, why are you spending that much money? You having a vacation together by the end of the year. But, can you see how even when I show you love and you don't see the way I feel loved can also cause problems in relationships?
Of course.
So there's nothing better than knowing those tools exist and kind of talk about it. But let me get to understand you. I'm not going to assume I understand you, but just being open and curious to get to know you makes the relationship closer, makes it wanting you even more because you're interested. You're not assuming that you know me. I don't want you to guess, because pretty much we get attracted with somebody because we see a quality in another person that we don't have.
Right.
And it's like, I fell in love because my husband has this very strong voice, very deep. And when you're talking on the phone, it was like, there's nothing else on it. I just want to hear it this way. But now I can't stand his voice because it's so strong. It takes over. Just like, speak a little bit softer, please, So it's just so funny how we are attracted to certain things that later in life it becomes liabilities.
Yeah.
And how can we at that moment become conscientious? This is not my husband. This is me. I'm changing. We are always changing. I'm changing. Now I want him to change, to become more like me. What fun is that? So those tools can help us kind of get to know us a little bit better.
Yeah.
And get in touch with how amazing we are and how we can always be in progress. We can always become even better.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
By the way, on that point where you're saying like it's his voice got annoying, I was actually talking to my cousin today about something relevant, which was people in life, they subconsciously abide by the concept of law of diminishing returns. Like that's how I see it. It's a business model where basically the consumer, after consuming the same good over and over, they get bored of it. So for me, I took apart that theory and placed it on humans as with their interaction with people as well, where if you have this, like when we were saying, if someone just keeps telling you I love you every day, you're just gonna get bored of it. It's not gonna make a difference. It's not gonna have the same impact. So having having that in your life, constantly hearing his voice over and over, eventually it's the value of it maybe like goes away a bit. I don't know if you agree with this, but that's kind of my opinion on this point.
I don't know if we can translate into relationships, because we all depend on relationships to actually be mentally healthy. Okay. We do. We can't leave alone. Do you know anyone who leaves alone? I mean, we need relationship. We need to be talking to somebody, to sharing something. Do you know anyone who went to the mountains and decided to leave there, don't need anyone?
Personally, no.
Now, we know a lot of teenagers who are alone behind a computer or a gamer, and they're really alone because they didn't develop meaningful relationships. and isn't the voice of my partner that I got used to. It's because it's not meaningful anymore. He's doing things that triggers in me things that I don't like about myself.
Such as?
And that moment, I don't want to be reminded of things that I need to do, or the house needs repair. I just need a moment of peace. But if he's saying what we need all the time, the voice would trigger in me the sense of, I never get a moment to rest.
Okay.
I'm always running. I'm always rushing. Can't you see? You should guess at this point, because we're 20 years married and you don't know yet. Do I have to tell you? It's for our brain feeling like the ideal partner and the real partner. And then I'm debating inside of myself, this is not ideal. I married an ideal guy, right? He was perfect. Nothing needs to change. Now, why it needs to change? Because we didn't develop enough tools to say those things honestly, open. I work the whole day. I really appreciate you reminding me that we need to do the garden and clean this and do that. Would you mind writing it down when we talk about it at 6:00? How much effort did it take from my part to say this? But if I don't know better, how can I do better?
Right. Well,
and I think those tools really help us to know better. Even though we're not going to be perfect, now I can be a little bit better. I can help our relationship, because this is the guy who now is my friend. We have done so many things, ups and downs in life, that, this is the person I want to hold my hand when I'm dying, because he's going to be there and I'm going to be there for him.
Yeah, lucky that person, right? But hey, it's been really great. We've unfortunately hit our timestamp here. So thank you very much for watching another episode of A to the Show. If you guys enjoyed this episode half as much as we enjoyed filming this, please do like, subscribe, and share. We will leave a link to Fernanda's socials description below. Fernanda, wow. You opened my mind.
That was amazing.
So yeah, it really was. There's so much I really need to think about, right? But other than that, is there anything you'd like to shout out or let the world know?
If you would like to hear more, visit Filosofia Positiva Oficial in Portuguese, and in English will be a website, positivediscipline.org.
Link in the description
we
below.
We'll link them all.
Yeah, and honestly, thank you. So, positive vibes to all those who are watching. I hope you learned something new today. Peace, love, happiness, and we'll see you.